you came across on my YouTubes actually. I think it was one of those reels or something like that, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And then I think my wife come in and was like, he's been on the Teddy box. He was on all those. So now we're obviously doing a bit of research, but I think what why I wanted you to come on here because obviously you're I don't want to say ex makes it sound like you got fired. You're retired police force, is that right?
Yeah, retired. Yeah,
And I think you're one of the few. I've had many conversations with retired police, most of them because of burnout and depression, and they've got themselves in, but we can't get to them in between or earlier.
yeah.
And
I understand.
and when I've spoken to like serving police officers, pretty high up as well, just can't get them talking at all. So I'm
Yeah,
like, well, maybe if we can use you to our advantage as a retired police officer, if we get just a couple of police officers just watching this in their car, doesn't really matter what it is. Can we stop them being signed off? Am I making sense?
yeah. No, you can do. This is one of the things I've. Can I just apologise to everyone that's watching, thinking, why is he sat on his couch like Lord Lucan? I've got a bad back, so I can't sit at the normal table where I do this. So I'm not just sat here because I want to look pompous or anything. I can't literally get comfy, so if I'm moving around, that's why. But yeah, we've said this: if you can stop it early or you can stop it mid, you won't have the results at the end. But don't forget, a lot of people that come out within 30 years service, like the Army, Navy, Air Force, that sort of thing. And once you've been bred into that disciplined service and you leave, it's hard to formulate your identity as it is, let alone formulate any issues you've got with your identity. So you'll come out being told what to wear. I mean, the weirdest thing is I came out and you're expected to be told you can't work Christmas, you can't have your son's birthday off, you can't have this day off. And you're like, well, I'm not doing it anymore. But you're waiting for that phone to ring, you need to come back onto duty. And even though you've gone, you're still bred into it that way. So you're looking at every car that comes past. When you're out shopping, you're still looking at every single person that's in corner rooms or how they dress or what they're doing, and it's bred into you. So irrespective of that Bobby mentality is bred into you regardless, let alone the mental aspect of that. So the idea is keep stum, don't say anything, roll with the punches, ride the wave, so to speak, and at the end of 30 years, you'll be done. But then they realise as soon as they've lost their identity and the phone stops ringing, and you log on one day, you've got 800 mates on Facebook, you retire, you go back on, you've got 400 mates on Facebook because that door's closed behind you. And like, well, he's not Bobby anymore. We don't, we can't really say what's in the sanctum.
Yeah.
You start thinking like, well, hang on a minute, what's it all been for? Why have I done it? And I'm not saying it's fickle, and I'm not saying it's backstabbing. It's not. It's just that when you leave, if you've ever left a job before, you might never go back. You might not speak to the people you were with, and you realise that most of them were probably acquaintances and not really good friends. So it's hard to talk. So what you want to be doing is you want to be doing it at the beginning of the career or middle career and saying, look, these are the issues and how we want to keep you is this way. And then again, it's all about trying to do the right thing for the right Bobby at the right time, which we know is going to be hard depending on what role you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's an interesting perspective. I've not heard anyone else say it. Now it makes sense. I really
If
do.
you speak to any Bobby that's around, the only reason they probably won't speak out. So every day I wake up, I've got probably about 30 messages through either Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, or my personal email from the site. Got about 30 each day. Each one, I'd say 80% of them is from officers all around the country, or officers, boyfriend, stroke, girlfriend, mum, dad, saying they're struggling. They won't talk about the struggling, and this basically the reason is they're scared. So if I put it this way, so I went on a Vipex course, so the Royal Outriders to do the Prime Minister, Queen, it was Queen at the time, to be their
Oh, okay, yeah.
motorcycle. And I did it. I passed with flying colours, fantastic. But my dad was dying at the time. I had to go do my refresher course, and I failed. My head went into space, and I was struggling. So I put a tweet out because I was part of the tweeting people of West Yorkshire Police, and I put, "I'll see you next year." Hashtag mental health, and I got all my permits revoked the next day because I put a tweet out mental health. They don't realise that you spent like 15 years of your career trying to build these permits up. I want to be an advanced driver, advanced TPAC person. I want to be an advanced rider. I want to be Vipex, advanced 4x4. I want to be escort trained. I want to be this, that, and other. So you get all your qualifications. So you're basically the best of the best. You're the most highest qualified person on the road. And you can come in one day and they've pulled it. and you're like, well, what do I do now? And they can say, right, you're going to beat, and there's nothing wrong with beat, but that's when you start at beat and you build your way up. You're going to be a map reader, so and so, and put pins in a wall. And you're like, but I'm this side of the train. Yeah, but you've said something about your mental health. We can't put you out in a car knowing you're not right in your head, because what happens if you have a thromby, like when I did, and you break at a scene? What happens if you do something bad? What happens if you crash and kill somebody? And they're like, oh yeah, well, we need to protect the institution. So that's why bobbies are always scared. And if you firearms, there's a thing called ACT teams, which are equivalent to SAS. They're that highly trained. They're coming through London on helicopters and come down on ropes, and do you know what I mean? They wear black op gear. They're that highly trained. But if you said, "Oh, I'm struggling," they'd probably write you off it, and you've worked 15 years to get on it with, and you think, "Well, what's it all for?" So that's why a lot of bobbies won't speak about their issues and won't speak about the feelings. So what we've done, we've created that comfort zone, so to speak, that niche to be able to say, come to me, speak. And then when I do lectures, I can tell people. So let me just read this out. The reason I've got my phone, I'm not.
There's no names on there, is there?
No.
Okay.
This is not, but this is what I put down earlier on. Right, this year alone, that's from the beginning of this year to now. 478 officers. That's 121 sergeants, 56 inspectors, 1 chief inspector, 14 superintendents, and 2 ACCs all contact me saying struggling. That's from this year alone.
Terrifying.
Do the math, because it's not the job. This is what people can't understand. It's not the job, but you're in a job where you're dealing with literally as soon as you turn up at work and you get all your gear on. Am I right to talk about this as well? This is what you wanted to speak about, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine because it's all the knock-on effects of mental health.
As soon as you come in on duty, you're aware of what's going on because of how you've got to dress in your department. So you're always worried. I'm not saying you shouldn't be, but you're always worried that something's going to happen internally. You're going to be pulled up on something, how you dress, how you look, your beard's too long, whatever. As soon as you get in your car or you do your briefing's all full of death, destruction, hate. You go into your workload. It's all because you're only getting involved in a bobby because someone's either been killed, someone's been knocked over, someone's been burgled, assaulted. It's all negative stuff. You're not just right. John's having a party today. Can you turn up and say hi? It's not all positive. It's all negative. So then you get in your car and literally the radio goes and you go into hangings, murders, sudden deaths, train crashes, whatever. RTCs pulling children out of cars on fire or whatever. And then when you're driving around, you're getting paid, get a real job, you're bullied at school, fuck you, and this sort of thing.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that, yeah.
I apologise.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get someone in the car, have you got not better to do? Well, I'm a traffic cop. I'm discussing without police, and everything's negative. So then when you come back in the station, you're mentally and emotionally drained. So everything you're trying to do, you're doing that now 7 days a week, 3 days off, 7 days a week, 4 days off, working early, late, and nights, and it's tiring. It's a tiring aspect. So what you should be doing is going out on duty, knowing that what you're doing is a job. It is a worthwhile job. It's a fantastic job. I'd recommend it to anybody. But when you're coming back in, you need to have your time, and that's really hard to do. When I were poorly, at my poorliest, you don't realise you're poorly, and it will just all work. I like, where's it? Where's the fun aspect of life? Like you work 9 to 5 in an office. You'll come home, you'll see your family from 5 till 10, and then you have your weekend off. We never seem to have that because we had earlies where we'd be coming in, going to work at 6, being on at 7, coming back at 5. And literally, as soon as you had your tea, you go to bed because you were tired. On late, you start at 2 till 10. So you're in bed till whatever, 9:30, you get up. By the time you got showered, have some sweet, you'd set off to work. Same on nights, you spend all night in bed. Night shift, all night in bed, and on your rest days you spend it all sleeping because you were that tired. So you felt like you're missing out on life, and that's the thing as well. Like people have got to think, right, it's only a job. Enjoy yourself in your life, treat it as though it's a job, and enjoy yourself in your life. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing now, because I think they get waylaid in what they're doing.
Yeah.
You've got to understand that it is a job and you're saving lives and stuff. It's nothing personal. They're shouting at the uniform, and I never understood that. I thought they were shouting at me. It's just
I agree. I'd agree with that actually.
Yeah, they're shouting at the uniform. you're shouting at the car. It's a way of frustration. I can see how it is now. I'm a civilian. I can understand how certain things look, and I can understand how certain things are. But it's about how you change the polarity around, how you make it better for yourself. You want to enjoy what you did. And there wasn't one day in 19 years that I didn't enjoy until I fell poorly. Every day I wanted to go to work, and it was only when I started to fall poorly that I was like, I can't do this. And that's what destroys you.
So how did you get back on? How did you get back on the straight? It feels weird saying that to a retired copper, but how did you get back on the straight and narrow in terms of mental health?
I realise there's a massive difference, and people might hate me for this. There's a massive difference between mental illness and mental health. So
Yeah.
I've got a mental illness. I will have tablets the rest of my life. I'm 4 years this October gone from the police, and I'm still having therapy once a week. It's been 5 years since I was on active duty. I'm still having therapy once a week. I don't know if it's ever going to change. It's affected my lifestyle. It's affected my memory. It's affected everything about me. I've always got that. But my mental health is fantastic. I wake up in the morning, I'm happy. I go to bed at night, I'm happy. I enjoy spending time with my kids. When sun comes up and I can feel it on my face, I'm happy. So even though I'm mentally ill, I've still got a really good mental health. It's like physical. If you at the moment, I'm physically ruined because of my back. So my physical health is horrible, but I'm still in good health in theory. I've had my heart checked. I've got a great heart. I've got great lungs. I've got great internal organs. But physically, if you see what I mean,
Yeah.
I'm knackered. And I thought that, hang on a minute, there's a bit of a change in this. You yourself can see when you're getting poorly. No one's going to help you apart from yourself, first of all. If you put your hand up and say, look, I'm struggling and I've got issues, then people will help. But if you're sitting at home and you've got your head down and you're making no effort to get any help, well, unfortunately, you're a victim of your own illness. And because if you fall in a pond or a lake or a swimming pool and you can't swim, if you don't put your hand up and shout, I'm drowning, I can't swim, who is going to literally just jump in and save you? No lifeguard's going to jump in and save you. They're just going to watch you because you're not shouting, can't swim. So the first thing is when you're falling somewhere and you're in danger, you put your hand up and say, I can't swim. It's the same with the mental health. You're meant to put your hand up and say, look, I can't do this. I need help. And then people will be there to help you regardless. And I never understood that until I started talking. I found it cathartic that I talk. And I thought, hang on a minute, if I start laying out my stories like on YouTube and that sort of thing, every day I was going on from YouTube and I felt knackered, but I felt really good. I felt quite positive. Felt people were understanding my story. It wasn't just me, then it was the people I was talking to. And then do you understand when you are depressed and you're upset and you're struggling to get out of bed and you think life's hard? Well, I changed that round to it wearing an invisible rucksack or a backpack, and it's on your back and it's heavy and you're struggling to get up and it's weighing you down. But what I did is, in theory, I know it sounds stupid, I put it on my front. So if I woke up in the morning and I could see my invisible backpack, I know you can't see it, and it's one of these.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
But you can see your invisible backpack and you know it's fully loaded that day. Allow yourself to be poorly. Allow yourself to be that person that day. I'm struggling today. Like some days I'll ring our lass up who's work. She's detective sergeant, and I'm really busy. And I'll ring her up one day and say, "Am I all right to have an off day? Am I all right to not do out today?" And she's, "Yeah, you're fine." But it's like, well, I can do that. I'm happy that I can do that. I can say it. I can ask, and then you don't feel bad for doing it. But if you're not doing it and you're not asking and you're not making any effort, that's when you can see yourself start to sink down. Like I said, that slippery slope. So I was waking up in the morning and going, oh, I can sit up. It's not that full today. So I was trying to push forward. I was talking about things and it was getting a little less heavy and it was making it a little bit easier to cope. Don't get me wrong. It's just been tomorrow is the anniversary of when my dad's funeral was, who was my best friend. We've just passed his death and then we've just done my mum's death. Anniversary of that as well over Christmas, so it's been a really hard time for me. Don't get me wrong, I've woke up some mornings over the last couple of months and I'm like, I can't do this, I'm struggling. And then you start thinking dark thoughts, but then you start thinking again, hang on a minute, my rucksack's 80% full, but I'm still a lot better off than other people. I'm still healthy, I've still got a good lifestyle, I've still got a family that loves me, I've still got this. So you give yourself reasons to push forward, and it's only you that can decide if you want to push forward. No one else is going to be doing it for you. You've got to stand there and say, I want to push forward, but can you show me how? Then everyone will stand there beside you. You've seen it in races. Do you remember Brownlee brothers? And when we're running and his legs had gone, and the other brother run
Oh
back.
yeah.
He saw he was struggling, so he went and helped. If people see you struggling and put your hand up and say, I'm struggling, everyone will be there to help you.
Yeah.
Even most lady comes and talks to me because she knows, and if she doesn't know, how will they talk to you?
Yeah.
Because you're asking, you're saying, I just need a little bit of help. That little bit of help can be, morning, buddy, how are you today? And how are you today? You all right? And then that's it. It's like, if you need me for help, drop me a DM and I'm there for you. That's that little bit different of, right, thanks for this, see you later, bye. And then that door's shut. It's not saying that, it's about saying, drop me a DM, I'm there for you. You've left that bridge open for people. And I
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
that's the easiest form to acknowledge you've got an illness or to acknowledge you've got mental health issues, to ask for help and then be guided, because no one's an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm nearly 4 years into it and I'm learning every single day. The more I talk to people like yourself, the more you pick up. They always say, don't they, that everything that comes to you in life, it's all learning, and all you'll do is decipher the good stuff to the bad stuff, throw the bad stuff away, keep the good stuff. So all I'm doing every single day, I'll learn. I've still got and his man club thing on my arm. I don't know why.
They do good stuff. Yeah.
Don't know why I've got it on my arm. It's not fashionable, but I wear it with my suit.
Yeah.
So I have it to remind me of why they've done that, and to remind me of the positives and the negatives. And we work alongside Andy's Man Club a lot of time. We donate to him. Lou Campbell and all his team are absolutely fantastic. But so I could have one of these made with our logo on it, but I'm not, because it stands for something different. And it's that little bit of a link saying, it's not just me. There's thousands and thousands of people out there that are struggling. So keep pushing forward and keep going. And I suppose that's how I've done it.
No, good, and good on you. And I like. I think you're quite similar to me. Like I'm BPD, borderline personality disorder, and the I can deal with that. I use that like a superpower now.
Yeah.
The high functioning depressive, sometimes it doesn't feel like the high function at all. But, and I've said this many times, I think sometimes we have to make that long, hard decision, and it's not an easy one. We have to learn to live with rather than suffer from.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's,
definitely.
and it's fucking hard. It is really hard. Like every day, and I'm glad what you said earlier on, because even me, when I got more involved with this, yeah, I founded it or whatever else, but now this is like my my main job basically. So I focused on it. But there are some days where I'm like, I hate this, and I have to, there's that little bit at the back of my mind of like, this is the life you've chose. You
Yeah.
chose this life, so you need to get out of bed to do it.
Yeah.
And
There's
it's
no,
no,
there's
go
going
on.
to be no one at all that's going to pull those covers off you and pull you out of bed.
Yeah,
You, like I said, yeah, you've chose this life, but go to other aspect of this. So people think that people with mental health issues, and this is what I found a lot of it. If you speak to someone, they find you as a taboo. They find you of a less of a person than what they are. So they've been born, they grew up, they've got their job. Just say, for instance, I'm a barrister. I'm this, that, and other. I watch your name, mine, Ben Pearson, blah, blah, blah. I start talking about, oh, yeah, retired, I've got mental health issues. Then there's instantly a drop in social status, social whatever, and blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
because well, I'm fully complete. You must have issues because you're not. So you're always a little bit down the scale. But then you turn it around and say, hang on a minute, look at people like Robin Williams, who's a multi world known person, multi-millionaire, loved by everybody. He's got everything you could want, and he commits suicide.
yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, but what you've got to do is you've got to push yourself up and be, I'm exactly the same as you, because every single person on this earth has got something to worry about. Every single person on this earth. So you've got to be proud of who you are, like you were just saying. You've got to get yourself out of bed and be proud of getting yourself out of bed and stand there and saying, this is who I am. And I'm not ashamed. I will meet anyone. When I lecture, part of my speech at the end, my name's Ben Pearson. I'm proud to say I've got mental health issues. Because if I've never met you before, and I can speak to 200 people and say I've got mental health issues, why can't you speak to your brother, your mum, your dad, your cousin, your sister, your best friend? So if I'm saying it to you who's a completely not stranger, you've got no excuse to say, hang on a minute, to someone I'm struggling. And I think that's how it is. It's getting rid of the taboo and being proud of who you are. Never be ashamed of who you are. Never be ashamed of what you've done or what you've got. Always be ashamed of what you've not done or what you've not got. Push forward in life and keep going. And it will get easier, but it's hard. And it's how much you want to stick at that journey. And at the moment, I'm loving pushing forward, because meeting people like yourself, everyone's trying to create a better tomorrow, to try and get it better understood, to try and make it easier for people that are struggling to be able to say they're struggling. And it's made me grow as a person as well. So I wouldn't change. People say if you could go back tomorrow and you go back 10 years, would you change? Yeah, I'd change certain things, but if it were like one of those things, well, you wouldn't be where you are today and the impact you're making today.
Good point.
If
Yeah.
so, you've got to decide what's right, and you've been thrown this this set of cards, deal with it and play them, and that's how I see it.
Absolutely. So just before, I'm just conscious of the time as well. So just before we call it a day. Now you're more mental health than police. I know you do your YouTube or whatever. How do you how do you not take on everyone else's problems now? Because like me, I see so many stories. I've got checks up there. I've got wives who have lost their husbands, and also, and after a while, it can sometimes feel like it takes a bit of a toll.
Yeah,
More because back then I wasn't trained for it.
yeah.
I was just an idiot what somehow started a charity. I didn't even want to start a charity, it just kind of evolved into the way it is. So it took me quite some time to go to not take on all that crap. How do you deal with that if you're getting hundreds of messages?
Yeah, I'm to be fair, I'm not dealing with all 100%. I saw one of my therapists, Gina, she's basically said, you can't deal with everyone's problems. So I just basically put back, I'm struggling myself, or I'm doing this and doing that. Now, I've got to admit, sometimes I don't, sometimes I sit there for hours on end chatting to people. But I think with me, it's part of the policing in me as well, the structure in me.
Oh
Like I
yeah,
said, if I walk past a pond and there's a child putting his hand up saying, "Help, I'm drowning," and he's 6 years old, as a human being, I would jump in that water.
yeah,
And that's the way I am. That's what now other human beings should probably stand there and watch. Some human beings would ring 999 and still watch the child go under. I can't do that. I've got to be involved. I think that's half of the structure in the police. But you have some people that want to help. You have some people that want to advise. You have some people want to counsel. But you also have some people that want to take. And all I want to do at the moment, I just want to give. Now, it's not about my story. It's about making sure that no one else ends up in a box or no one ends up on the wrong side of a road. And if I can do that for one person, I did it in the police. I gave CPR. I've saved lives in the police. I can't do it now in uniform. So if I can do it outside in my civvies, just one person, just makes a massive difference to me, and that's all.
that's a good answer, mate. But
Thank you.
I think that's what's the problem with society sometimes. I think everything's about saving the world, saving the world, saving the world. I can't fix mental health. Yeah, yeah, I'll run a charity. We can help. We can't fix it. You can't do it at all. But if we can, if every conversation have, if this video, like I said, saves one person, then the
Yeah,
whole thing's worth it. Because if you can save the one person, that's arguably a whole family
yeah,
being saved. So I think, obviously, I don't want to go on a tangent. What disturbed is when I did a video with SOBS Charity, Survivors of Bereavement. I'm not sure if you heard, brilliant, brilliant charity. What they do, they help the spouses and all sorts. I think they said for every, I don't want to trigger you, whatever else, because I'm sure you sadly you've probably done that, not so I apologise. But I think for every person who's died by suicide, 350 people are directly or indirectly involved in it.
yeah. It's exact. We've knocked up at people's doors, and we've knocked on the doors and said, "Your child's not coming home. Your mum's not coming home. Your dad's not coming home." And I can see the impact. I can
Yeah,
see how the ripple effect. And it was saying when my mum and my dad both of them passed away, I could see the ripple effect of how far down it goes. And they were, when you say natural causes, they weren't due to suicide. If it's suicide, I've had friends that have died of suicide, or know people that have done something, and you just think the amount of hate and that pain that still carries on even now, and people still want those questions. Why didn't you want to talk to me? I'm one of your friends. Why is it me? Is it me that's been the issue? And I think that's what you leave behind. You leave a lot of trauma behind, and a lot of people are upset by it. So yeah, as long as you can save one person, it's the amount of, like I said, dropping that pebble in the pond and watching it
yeah.
across the entire pond. It affects everyone. So we'll always be there, and it's about just putting your hand up and saying, "Look, can you chat to me?" And that's it.